Diddy's son Justin Combs just turned 32, and his life right now is sad. Not in the way people throw that word around loosely, but in the specific way that hits different once you understand where this man started and where he's standing today. Justin Combs grew up inside one of the most extraordinary lifestyles hip-hop has ever produced. The kind of wealth and access most people only see in music videos. And the life he's living at 32 looks nothing like any of that anymore. The luxury is gone, the image is fractured. In its place is a reality shaped by courtrooms, civil lawsuits, prison phone calls, and a family name that went from representing the pinnacle of hip-hop success to becoming one of the most talked-about scandals in entertainment history. Justin Dior Combs was born December 30th, 1993, in New York City, to fashion stylist Misa Hilton and a father already on his way to becoming one of the most powerful men in music. By elementary school, Diddy had built Bad Boy Entertainment into a cultural institution, and Justin was part of that world in a very visible way. The Grammy Awards at 9 years old, the Hamptons white parties, the Miami compound, the LA mansion. This wasn't a childhood. It was a front-row seat to the top of the industry. People expected Justin to simply coast on all of it. Instead, he pushed back against that narrative, developing into a legitimate football player in high school. When he earned a scholarship to play at Ookla, it made national news. Questions swirled about whether it was genuinely earned, but Ookla stood behind the decision, and Justin enrolled in 2012 as a defensive back for the Bruins, appearing in 7 games across 2 seasons. The stats were modest. The point was that he'd chosen to compete somewhere his last name meant nothing. By 2016, he'd graduated with a sociology degree, becoming the first in his immediate family to finish a 4-year university. After football, Justin moved into entertainment, launching his own talk show, Respectfully Justin, and building a social media following past 1 million, positioning himself as a young entrepreneur with something of his own to offer. That was the version of Justin Combs that existed right up until everything collapsed. And when it collapsed, it didn't happen gradually. It happened like a building coming down. In November 2023, Cassie Ventura filed a federal lawsuit against Sean Combs, alleging rape, sex trafficking, and years of physical abuse. The suit settled within 24 hours, and the speed of that settlement sent a shockwave through the industry all on its own. From there, the lawsuits stacked fast. Dozens, then more than 100 accusers coming forward, painting a picture of alleged misconduct spanning decades. Overnight, Justin's entire public identity got swallowed by that story. The scholarship, the degree, the talk show, none of it mattered anymore. He was first and foremost Diddy's son, and that association had just become one of the most toxic things in hip-hop. Then came March 2024, when federal agents raided Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami. Footage spread everywhere within hours. Justin and his brother Christian were both present at the LA compound when agents arrived, and both were briefly handcuffed during the search, before being released without charges. That image, Diddy's sons in handcuffs outside their father's raided mansion, became one of the defining visuals of the entire collapse. 2 years earlier, Justin had been sitting in a talk show chair building his own brand. Now his most circulated image was standing in handcuffs on a driveway while federal agents dismantled his childhood home. 6 months later, in September 2024, Sean Combs was indicted on federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail and held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn awaiting trial. Justin and his family stood by him publicly from day one, attending hearings and issuing statements of support. Loyalty that, however understandable on a human level, cost Justin in the court of public opinion in ways he's still navigating. The trial ran through summer 2025 and ended in a split verdict, acquitted on the racketeering and most serious sex trafficking charges, but convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution under the Mann Act. On October 3, 2025, Sean Combs was sentenced to 50 months in federal prison, 5 years of supervised release, and a $500,000 fine. He's currently serving that sentence at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey. Justin was in the courtroom for sentencing, delivering an emotional statement asking for leniency and describing who his father was to him as a man. Some saw a son doing what any son would do in the hardest moment of his parents' life, Others had no patience for a public figure defending someone just convicted in federal court. Justin did it anyway, and on Christmas Day 2025, he visited his father inside FCI Fort Dix. Not an estate, not an industry party, a federal prison. That single detail says more about his life at 32 than any amount of analysis could. But loyalty to his father isn't the only weight Justin is carrying. Before any of this started, in 2023, he was arrested on a DUI charge and accepted a plea deal to avoid jail time. The kind of thing that would normally be a footnote, except nothing touching the Combs family exists under normal circumstances anymore. Then, in June 2025, as his father's criminal trial was nearing its end, Justin himself was named in a civil complaint filed in Los Angeles. A woman identified as Jane Doe alleges that in 2017, Justin orchestrated a situation where she was lured to LA under false pretenses of a job opportunity and subsequently drugged and assaulted by 3 masked individuals. The complaint names both Justin and his father as defendants. Justin has denied the allegations and no criminal charges have been filed against him, but the civil case remains active. That's not proximity to someone else's scandal anymore. That's his own legal exposure, sitting on top of everything else, that he wakes up to every day. There was also an earlier civil matter tied to a lawsuit filed by producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones in early 2024, which named Justin as a co-defendant, alleging involvement in soliciting women for parties at his father's properties. Justin was later dismissed from that suit after the plaintiff failed to properly serve him, but the dismissal never got anywhere near the coverage the original filing did. Millions saw the headline. Far fewer saw the follow-up. In the court of public opinion, being named alongside your father in a federal sex trafficking case leaves a mark that doesn't easily wash off, regardless of how it resolves. Add it all up, and here's what Justin Combs is carrying at 32, the son of a man serving 50 months in federal prison, a co-defendant in an active civil lawsuit alleging a serious 2017 assault, someone photographed in handcuffs outside a raided family compound, someone who sat through months of his father's federal trial and delivered a sentencing statement defending him. Meanwhile, the business empire he grew up inside, Bad Boy Entertainment, the brand deals, the liquor partnerships, has come apart under the legal and reputational damage. Diddy's net worth had been estimated near $1 billion before the collapse. Legal defense costs alone were enormous and still ended in conviction. Justin's own estimated net worth now sits somewhere between $3 and $5 million. He's not broke, but the commercial power that once came automatically with his last name is gone. But Justin hasn't disappeared. In late December 2025, he and his brother Christian announced a documentary partnership with the Zeus Network, set to premiere in 2026. The teaser shows the brothers watching trial footage together, watching headlines flash across a screen, watching reporters confront their family outside the courthouse, and in its most striking moment, a phone rings with the automated voice of FCI Fort Dix announcing an incoming call. Justin answers. That's his father on the other end. Zeus Network CEO Lemuel Plummer clarified publicly that the series isn't meant to defend Diddy or rehabilitate his image. The goal is simply to give Justin and Christian space to tell their own story. Whether the public is ready to receive that story with any openness is a separate question entirely, and the civil lawsuit still hanging over Justin means every appearance, every interview, every post now gets weighed against those allegations too. So here's where this leaves us. Justin Combs is 32 years old. He grew up with access most people in this country will never experience. He earned his own scholarship, finished his own degree, built his own platform, and then the world underneath him shifted in ways he couldn't control. What his story really shows is that proximity to power was never the same thing as protection from consequence. He didn't choose to be born into that name, didn't choose to be handcuffed outside a raided mansion, didn't choose to have his sentencing statement replayed across news segments for weeks. But the name is the name, and the history is the history, and now he's the one answering prison phone calls, sitting in front of a documentary camera, trying to explain a life that changed in ways even he probably never expected to write. Turning 32 wasn't a celebration for Justin Combs. It was a marker of how much has changed, and a question about what, if anything, comes next. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Justin Combs deserves the chance to tell his own story? Or is everything attached to the Combs name too much to move past at this point? Let us know where you stand. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button so you don't miss what's next.